Royal Caribbean also reported earnings this morning, and companies are forecasting strong travel demand in the coming months, despite a more cautious consumer. Inflation and tight budgets don't seem to be too much of a concern for Americans this summer. In fact, a new Bankrate report shows that more than 1/3 of Americans are willing to rack up debt just to fund that lucrative and luxurious summer vacation, and well needed. For more on some of the biggest travel trends this summer, we're joined by Ted Rossman, who is the Bankrate Senior Industry Analyst. Ted, good to see you as well. Thanks so much for hopping on. First and foremost, people willing to take on debt to make sure that they can get some time in the sun, or hey, maybe they're going somewhere cold to offset all of the heat, especially if they're in the Southwest U.S. So what are we seeing in terms of some of the trends right now?
We're still seeing really robust demand. It surprises me because 2022 was supposed to be the year of revenge travel, right? And in many respects it was, but the surprise was that 2023 topped it. The TSA actually processed about 16.5% more passengers last year than they did the year before. And then this year, it looks like it's going to be another record. So far, that pace is up about 6% from the same period last year. So I think really throughout the travel industry, we're hearing robust demand, whether it's cruise lines like Royal Caribbean reporting record bookings, or airlines are upbeat, hotels. This pent-up demand seems to still have room to run.
And so all of that considered, how can people aptly plan to budget for their summer travel plans?
I think it's really important to set that budget ahead of time. Set money aside from every paycheck. That way you're building a vacation fund. You're not going into credit card debt. Credit cards can be great if you pay in full. That's the thing, because then you avoid interest, you get rewards. Use those rewards points and miles, by the way. That's a good tip to offset costs. And be flexible about your travel schedule. Maybe let the deal dictate when and where you go. That might involve flying midweek instead of on the weekend, or driving instead of flying, or going somewhere during the shoulder season or the off season. I think flexibility really pays.
Who is showing the most propensity to take on debt right now to finance the summer travel plans? Is it baby boomers? Is it the forgotten generation, as they have been called as well? Gen X, Gen Y? Who is it? Gen Z?
It's millennials, actually. Millennials love their experiences, and they're the most likely to be splurging on travel. You know, where it really stood out was a different recent study we did, and we asked not just about travel, but also dining and concerts and sporting events and other live entertainment. That's where people under the age of 40 really stood out. More than half of millennials and more than half of Gen Zers were willing to take on debt this year for those kind of things, versus only 30% of Gen X and 25% of boomers.
It's interesting. Us millennials have lived through so much, so I'm not going to fault any of those millennials out there, those fellow millennials, for taking that vacation, much needed, and a lot of other people too. Just lastly, when you think about the number of businesses that already know what the demand environment is like right now, are we expecting any kind of price moderation in this near term?
One bit of good news is that travel prices have actually fallen a little bit year over year. Rental car prices are down about 9%, airfares are down about 7%, and hotel costs are down about 2%. All of that's according to the latest CPI. So prices have stabilized a bit. They really spiked a couple of years ago, and now they're kind of back where they were pre-COVID. I think that surprises people because costs in other areas have gone up. So I think that's squeezing the budget. But the travel plans themselves may not have quite the same sticker shock they did a year or two ago.
Ted Rossman, who is the Bankrate Senior Industry Analyst. Ted, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.